We Make Movies, Film Geeks podcast, episode number 51. Welcome to the We Make Movies podcast, making the world a better place, one film at a time. And now, here are your hosts, otherwise known as the director, the actress, and who the hell is that guy? Chad, Michelle, and Garrett. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the We Make Movies Film Geeks podcast, a podcast that's all about how to get your movie made, how to get it seen by other people, and how to get it awesome. I never get tired of that intro, self-deprecating as it is. I'm your host, Garrett Robinson. With me, as always, faithful co-host Chad Kukihiko and Michelle Lucadou, and we are joining you a little bit early on this Sunday morning. Hi, guys.
We used to do it this time all the time, actually. So
I know. It used to be the norm, and then we were like, yes. 2 p.m., and then we just switch it to... It's going to be 11 a.m. in the future, unless one of us is like doing something special or crazy.
I'd like to move it to 10 a.m. for the time being, but we will discuss that later.
No.
Ooh, 10
a.m. on a Sunday morning? No.
Short attention span, but we'll talk later anyway.
Right. All right, yeah, we'll talk about it later. Anyway, we begin as always with the community news, and there is an item here that we have 3 more screenings remaining in the WMM Fest, but I'm going to let Chad roll with that because I know no details whatsoever.
Yes, WMM Fest. It is. We are in the midst of it right now. We just had 2 screenings last Wednesday and then Friday night, both at 8 p.m. at the 3 clubs in Hollywood. If you have never been to the Hollywood Fringe Festival, you are totally missing out. We are part of the much greater Hollywood Fringe Festival. It's just like every Fringe Festival, if you know what Fringe Festivals are. They started in Edinburgh. I won't get into the entire history, even though the nerd in me really badly wants to. I'll just have to let you Wikipedia this stuff yourself. But they're all over the world, and they're theater festivals, and they're really it's just so much theater. And we decided a couple of years ago, they used to, the Hollywood Fringe Festival used to have a little film portion that was run by this guy, Ezra Buzzington, very cool guy, an excellent actor, by the way, part of the, never mind, I can't remember the name of the theater company. I keep thinking like Fierce Backbone, which is an excellent theater company. But hello, Tandem.
Also the best name ever.
Yeah, Ezra Buzzington, right? Isn't that badass? Anyway, Ezra stopped running the Hollywood Fringe's sort of official film thing a couple years ago. So we decided that we would have ours, and it would be a perfect opportunity for us to become part of the Fringe Festival, which we love, and also become part of that community, that part of Hollywood, and then also show the people in our community, show their films, the films that they made, especially the ones that were developed at We Make Movies. And so that's what we do. And so this is our second. Last year we had the very first one, we actually had a feature film in it as well, Eric Michael Kochmer's crazy film. I can't remember the name of it right now.
Way downtown in Chinatown.
Way down in Chinatown, that's right. Insane. It was insane. But it was perfect for midnight shows, which are great for the Hollywood Fringe. But this year we had a couple of features. They weren't really a good fit for midnight shows. So unfortunately, it's just too expensive to get space for 2 hours. Anyways, we have 5 screenings of shorts. 2 of them are already gone, and 3 left. So go to WMMFest.com to see exactly what's playing. I have a piece going tonight called Pappy and Slappy, and it's going to be fun. Then on Wednesday's program, I have a different piece. It'll be the world premiere of Favored Nations, which is... I can't really explain it. It's very bizarre. Written by Jay Holtham. Great, hilarious piece. I hope I did it some version of justice. And then, again, I have a piece in the last one called Tuesday Morning, which you may or may not have already heard about. Do you guys have pieces left in the 3 remaining screenings?
I honestly don't know. I know that on Friday I went for the show, and they played The Speech, which I co-directed with Brian Gaskill, and that went really well. I think that also played on Wednesday, but I don't know if it's playing again at any point in the 3 remaining screens.
No, the audition played on Wednesday, and then The Speech played only on Friday.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, but that went really well, and it was funny because I had actually almost forgotten that I had a piece in this year, because last year I premiered overnight, which went great. People loved it. It was funny. My wife got to come and the whole deal. And then this year I was like, oh, I don't have anything. And then Brian was like, so you're coming Friday, right? And I was like, oh yeah, I guess I am.
Did you direct any of the broad strokes?
I did not. I had no hand in that.
Okay.
They're so good. Broad Strokes, I'm so excited for it to premiere on WMM Originals. It's so hilarious. 40 less than 1 minute little snippets of hilarity.
Yeah. Most of them less than 30 seconds.
Yeah. So good. So well done. Right. No, my only film was on the opening night, but I will be there. I'm very excited. You know what's interesting? I obviously knew my sketch really well, and my husband had seen it at home, and he had watched it like, no, it's good. You look hot. Good job. Whatever.
Good.
Yeah. So he just kind of like chuckled a few times, and he never laughed at anything. But we were there, and we were sitting there watching it on the big screen, and surrounded by a group of like really fun, slightly drunk people, and he was like belly laughing.
Okay, this is We Make Movies. They were more than slightly drunk.
Well, it was early on in the evening, but he was belly laughing, and like so was everyone else, and it's just so fun to see. Films, when you see films on the internet by yourself with your headphones on, it's just very different to see it in a group setting. And it was awesome. It's so fun to just see all of the stuff that I know, that I've seen, all of my friends' flicks, and just to really see all the folks.
That's the thing. Comedy always plays better in a group.
But also what's funny to me is that, because Sam said, oh, let's do some sketches here and there. We'll throw them in. I was like, no. It's already... I was like, no. He obviously is the CEO, so he won. And I was like, when seeing them, I mean, the quality of them is actually really quite good.
It's
fantastic. And it really works well in that venue. And Cooking with Prayer was it just killed on Friday. It was really... Like there were a couple of moments.
Of course, they're good quality. They're WMM sketches. Hello.
Yes, but I mean,
the thing is that the sketches, we don't have. We've got a few hours to shoot. It's very bam, 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 and we get them done, and they're very, very good. But like, there's this feeling that you have to take weeks and or sometimes months of planning and shoot a short film over like multiple weekends, and you can create really amazing short films with that. But the fact that we're able to produce sketches so fast, they're all shot in like 3 or 4 hours, and but they're really
no, much less than that. Much less than that. I mean, on average, they have about 2 hours per. So I mean, like, but you have to do it in
some days we do the thing where we split the crews, like the couple of weekends.
Yes. No, that did happen once.
Yeah.
But yes.
Never again.
No. Anyway, I think
they're
that
good,
probably.
They're very good.
Yes, they're good, and showing them in that venue really shows how Anyway.
I think that's why it's in community news also, because it's a community. Like, you can literally come and pay $10 and be part of this ridiculous community and get to see what we make and who makes it.
Speaking of which, next, one piece of community news I should have actually stuck in there is that we are shooting the next round of YouTube sketches next Saturday, so we'll update you on that with next week. But I think we should move on into the general news items. Any other community? Okay, good. So we'll just skip on.
You already stuck it in there, Garrett, so keep going.
General news items. I will start with nerd news. A lot of people have probably already heard this, but on June 11th, Harrison Ford was injured on the set of the new Star Wars movie. Wah, wah, wah. Oh, wait, we have sound effects. I forgot about that. Where's the sad trumpets? So the door... Admittedly, one of the coolest ways you could ever be injured on set. The door of the Millennium Falcon fell on his leg. And websites across the internet, of course, ran with the story. And
that was the wrong one. Sorry, wrong one.
Here. There you go.
That's the one.
Sorry. So websites across the internet ran with the story. Of course, about 95% of them head titling their article with "What a piece of junk." Initial reports stated that his ankle had been injured, but he actually confirmed yesterday, or his publicist confirmed, that he actually broke his leg. So that's, yeah, kind of sucks. Fortunately for all of us, he went through surgery right away. The bone is recovering very well. He's expressed numerous times that he's very eager to get back onto set. He's loving the experience, et cetera, et cetera. So, like, when Harrison Ford is like, I'm loving this, that's happy. And it has pushed shooting back a little bit, but there's no change on the release date, which is December 18th, 2015. And from a purely selfish nerd perspective, like, I'm sorry this happened. That's very sad. But this almost definitely confirms that Han Solo will be flying the Millennium Falcon again in the new film, which is just awesome. So seeing the light through the darkness, etc., it's a good thing. Yeah.
Before we move on from this topic, did you hear that Rian Johnson, the director from Brick and Looper, has already signed up? You've heard this?
Yes.
It's Garrett. He's heard everything nerdy.
He's directing.
We'll talk about it. It's amazing. Unless did I scoop you on something you're saying?
No. So Rian Johnson, who directed Looper, is directing Star Wars Episode 8 in 2017.
And 9.
He's definitely writing. He's definitely going to be involved in the script on 9, and it's pretty certain that he's going to direct it as well. Honestly, I was talking about this with Scott Kiefer Johnson and Sam Rosenthal on Friday night. We kind of hope that he won't. That we'll just have a new director every time. I mean, because even though I know J.J. Abrams is going to be awesome, I don't want him to be the only person who directs Star Wars films, because I want to direct a Star Wars film. But
right. Well, I heard that he was directing 8 and 9. Deadline reported that he will also be directing 9. But but then there are other sources that say that that's a rumor, that's not true.
So it's there's
overzealous agents. So
either way, and we were bringing it up. We would love to see him bring his pass with him and have like time traveling Jedi, just like have people like show up back and that. No,
I've actually, believe it or not, I know he's. I've kind of stolen a couple things from him. I like what he does a lot. I like Rian Johnson.
Oh, he's awesome. I love him.
But it was Brick that I think affected me most. I mean, some of the things that I've seen, not so much obviously in the writing, but in the directing and some of the treatment. Anyway, we can move on.
We were also talking about how we'd really love to see Guillermo del Toro do a Star Wars movie and have Jedi Rancors, like the big from Return of the Jedi, just like gigantic fucking lightsaber.
Is it? Guillermo del Toro. Oh, right. For some reason, I was like mixing him up with the other Del Toro.
Benicio del Toro.
Don't want him directing a Star Wars film.
No. Yeah, no, that would.
I'd love to see Robert Rodriguez direct a Star Wars film. Then, like, the whole thing happens in one room.
Mariachi's in it.
Speaking of oh my gosh. Speaking of teleportation, I am in love with No Film School. I think you guys got me started on it. I love it. I just read an article about how to better your teleportation. I mean, come on. Things you need to know. But it was actually really interesting from, a lay lady's perspective. I don't know anything about
from a filmmaker's point of view, I assume.
Yes.
Yes, from a filmmaker's point of view. But
excellent.
Whatever. So it's this group called Film Riot, and they made a video about how to better pull off your simple teleportation effect. And you use like a still after, and then like After Effects, like after you teleport to the car shakes, and I won't get into the details, but they have a tutorial by Ryan Connolly that shows you how it's done. It's so interesting and like really cool, and even from a person who doesn't teleport very often. I mean, just saying, it was really awesome. So here's my proposition: is that next week we do some teleportation on Film Geeks.
Yeah,
on
if
Film
that's
Geeks?
possible.
No.
I don't think there's anything that says unless you have a whole crew. I don't think sitting at our.
See, I like jump out, and then I'm like, whoosh, and then it's like.
That's not teleportation. That's called moving.
But then it's like slightly altered, and then I jump in. It's like, you know what I mean?
No, I see what she's saying. It's like, check this out. It's total movie magic. It's like you're here and then all of a sudden you vanished. Where did he go? Where did he go? I apologize for that.
Now that shit's within my budget.
Yes.
Have you checked out this really sexy mug that my mom made me? This
Super
is me performing in White Christmas.
Oh, that's adorable. On a more serious note, though, Film Riot, No Film School, check them out. They are fantastic.
For sure. Okay, so as usual on the sort of social, on the internet beat, I have.
That was the hippest intro ever, Chad.
Well, my beat. No, I mean, I don't mean by beat like musical beat. I mean like my interest as a quote-unquote journalist. I don't know if we can say that's what we are, but my interest, that beat, like I'm on the beat, I'm a gumshoe. No, that's something else entirely. But you get my point. Anyway, okay, in August, Chelsea Lately, which I have to admit I've never actually seen. In 7 years, I've never seen a single episode. But anyway, Chelsea Lately, which is Chelsea Handler's late-night cable talk show. In August, it's going to be completely ending its 7-year run, and she's going to begin producing a brand new talk show with Netflix, which is currently set to air in 2016. And the deal that Handler signed with Netflix includes at least 5 comedy specials in addition to the talk show. And it's going to be interesting because Netflix is known for releasing the shows that it produces all at once, which is fantastic for binge watchers. But I don't see how that they're going to possibly be able to do it with this show, which is
how do you do a talk show
serialized? I guarantee you they're not. I guarantee you it's going to be serialized. So it's and I'm willing to bet money on that. So it should be very interesting to watch this unfold because I think that it's smart for Netflix. Part of what they've been doing, the way they make their decisions on buying things is they watch what their current people do. Like for instance, when they signed House of Cards, they basically saw that David Fincher movies, people watch them, all of them, and the whole from beginning to end. And so they were like, wow, if we gave him a TV show, what would so they use actual data that they gather from their users to see what's a smart move and what's not a smart move. So I'm fascinated to see how this unfolds, to see if people, I've always been a big fan of Netflix, and I know that with that whole, they lost in their PR lost some heat when they did that whole Quickster thing. But the good news is that, and I've said this before, when people screamed about it, they were like, okay, never mind. And they stopped it like that.
Oh, you don't like this? We won't do that then.
Okay, right, exactly. That is smart. And so some people are like, wah, wah, wah. I know that some of the concerns that I've heard from independent artists is that they feel like they're not given enough. But my point is they destroyed Blockbuster, and for that I will always love them. For that reason alone, I will always love them. Yay! Not the Blockbuster, and because Blockbuster's model was disgusting. It was disgusting. They made there was a time when they were making 50% of their income off of late fees. It's awful, and whatever, they're dead now. So it's
financial institutions.
Oh yes, absolutely. So anyway, I'm not actually joking about that. I'm dead serious. I'm a big fan of disruption, and I love when awful, crappy, and predatory business models are destroyed by better organizations. And I feel it anyway. That's huzzah. So anyway, we'll get more into how the internet is growing. I mean, that's all I ever talk about. So continue. Feel free to, or if you have anything else to say about this, feel free.
No, we'll just jump into the next topic. So last show we talked about. I just have nothing particular to offer on that. You're the expert. last show we talked about Ant-Man, or I talked about Ant-Man because that's what I'm into, which comes in 2015, and they're finding a new director, et cetera, et cetera. But looking even further into the future of Marvel is another favorite character who hasn't been talked about so much, but Marvel will definitely produce a Doctor Strange film in 2016. I mean, definitely.
What?
Yes.
This is very exciting.
Doctor Strange. Sorry.
Do they have an
Johnny
actor yet?
Depp.
They do not have an actor. And what's like unfortunate is I see Doctor Strange and I'm immediately like, oh, well, Robert Downey Jr. But he's already Iron Man. It's like he just needs to be like half of the superheroes in the entire Marvel universe.
Doctor Strange is too dark. I mean,
he's too solemn. Yeah, he's not flipping it up. But still, Robert Downey Jr. does not always have to be a smartass. But anyway,
there could be a movie where Robert Downey Jr. plays every character.
That would be amazing.
Yes. Yeah.
The Martin Lawrence method of filmmaking.
Right.
Anyway, for the uninitiated, Doctor Strange is the Sorcerer Supreme in the Marvel Universe and the linchpin character for a whole other mystical side of Marvel that we haven't really seen too much of yet. Doctor Strange is, according to Kevin Feige, who did a whole interview on the film and everything, this movie is going to move us out of the realm of strictly sci-fi and into the realm of magic and other dimensions. Like the Asgardians have their stuff, but it's all still technology. Like they are just super, super advanced technology. Doctor Strange, it's magic, bitches. Like that's how everything works. It's just that's the way it works. So in this interview, Kevin Feige said there will be a ton of other superpowered beings coming into the Marvel Universe, not just Doctor Strange, but everywhere else. People like the Watcher, the Living Tribunal. So it's going to be interesting seeing how in future Avengers titles and the subtitles, Iron Man, Captain America, and all that sort of stuff. Like Iron Man's going to have to fight people who have magic, with missiles and stuff, and it's going to be all super crazy. And I'm hoping that eventually leads us to, and I don't know who necessarily owns it, but the storyline where Wanda Maximoff, the Scarlet Witch, basically turns the whole world into this other world thing, but I don't know if that belongs properly in X-Men or to the Avengers. Both of them heavily involved, of course. But anyway, but it's exciting. We get magic. Yays.
Yeah.
I would like to propose casting for Doctor Strange.
Okay.
Alan Cumming.
Okay, Alan Cumming. Yeah, sure. I could see that.
Alan Cummings, I can't see his face in my head right now.
Oh, gee. Come on.
Well, hey, let me actually make one prediction.
Uh-huh.
I predict that the God Squad is going to crap their collective pants over Doctor Strangelove. The way that they did with Harry Potter.
You mean Doctor Strange? Or you mean
Doctor Strange? Doctor Strange, not Doctor Strangelove. Doctor Strange. They're going to crap their collective pants, and it's going to get really fun and interesting watching them crap their pants. Because magic,
If they get all
you guys, I don't see your lower thirds, either of you.
Yeah, I took mine off. It makes the video look kind of weird in the final analysis.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Should I turn mine off?
If you do, I mean, check it out on the YouTube video. For me, I prefer the one look, but
okay.
But anyway,
this is my lower third.
Alan Cumming. Oh, puppy.
Oh, cutie.
Oh, but Alan Cumming. He's a little bit.
For those of you listening, Michelle is holding her little dog. So. You don't think she's showing?
I don't know. He could do it, I guess. Robert Downey Jr.'s just got the look, man. He's got that look.
He's not somber enough. But
no, he's not.
Let's move on.
Let's kick it off. Michelle.
Oh, whatever. I'm here. I'm right here. Listen.
Liam Neeson. Doctor Strange.
He's like 80.
So is Doctor Strange.
Oh, nobody's gonna go watch that.
Oh, yes, they will.
Speaking of
I have AIDS.
men blowing things up, Universal has officially delayed production for the newborn flick until 2016. I know. You are all waiting with bated breath. I get it. I was too. It will now open around July of 2016 in the U.S. See, apparently what happened is the studio wasn't happy with the script. The script originally was turned in by Anthony Packham, and then it was turned over to Andrew Baldwin because it was so bad. And I guess it was so bad that, in fact, they need an extra year to fix it up.
Is Andrew one of the brothers, the Baldwin brothers?
I believe so, yes.
Get out. And he's a good writer?
I'm looking him up now.
He might be a good writer or fixer. Oh, no. Andrew Baldwin came up.
He has 2 credits on IMDb. Bastille Day, which is in pre-production, and untitled Jason Bourne sequel.
What I believe about Andrew Baldwin, I may be wrong. This was what the impression that I was under, that he's kind of a script fixer.
Oh, okay. So he doesn't actually, his name is never on them.
Yeah.
I see.
Anyway, whatever. He's not getting the job done. But my question was there actually a script for the Bourne flicks? I mean, I don't know about you guys, but like when I go to see a Bourne flick, I want to see hot men in leather blowing shit up.
That's
I mean,
let's
just don't spend a year trying to fix that shit. Just go with the bad script. Show us more skin and more action scenes.
I beg to differ. I am a man, and therefore am not interested. Well, hold on. Let me say that. I'm a heterosexual man, and therefore am not interested in... Anyway, but I love the first 3 films, and they got better and better until Jason Bourne went away. But the scripts were incredible. They were really, really good, in my opinion.
I didn't like the second one, but that was more of how it was shot. But yeah, no, I agree.
Do people really honestly go see a Bourne flick because it's like a great script? I don't think so.
Chad does. This guy does.
I think so. I think that if they want just random action blowing shit up, then you've got 007 for that and a bunch of other
That's what Michael Bay is for.
Yeah, exactly.
Not the Bourne series.
Oh my God, you guys have got to check out CinemaSin's trashing of Transformers Dark of the Moon, Transformers 3 in other words. It's just the greatest Michael Bay ragging ever. It's incredible, and it's 19 minutes long. Yeah.
I'll check it out, but I beg to differ. Obviously I'm saying this without having seen it, but the fake Dark Knight script, as if it was written by Michael Bay, is the best.
Dark Knight is it? Oh God, I need to see that.
It's a script. It's online. It's hilarious with a little note that said, "Oh hey, you got to check it out. It's online." Hilarious.
I'm looking it up right now. But you have the next segment, Chad, which should really be my segment.
I know, but you know what?
Well, incidentally, though, yesterday I was stuck in traffic, literally next to Optimus Prime.
What?
I'm not even kidding. There was like some kind of parade going on in Hollywood, and like I was like with a bunch of people, and one of the guys that was like, in one of the cars in front of us was like, "Is that Optimus Prime?" Took a picture. Actually, Optimus Prime. I was very excited. I had Transformers when I was a kid. I played with boy toys.
Really?
So, I had every Star Wars character. Yep.
Boy toys is frightening. I'm not even going there. So listen, VidCon begins on this Thursday. It's the 5th annual VidCon. It's happening.
It opens on Wednesday.
Excellent. Anyway, it's officially Thursday through Saturday this week at the Anaheim Convention Center. Since its launch in 2010, its growth has been incredible. I know Garrett's already been talking about it in past episodes. And as he was saying, it was started by John Green and Hank Green, the YouTube's Vlog Brothers, and the success of John's book, The Fault in Our Stars, and in particular the success of its movie adaptation, are living, breathing proof that a massive and undeniable shift is occurring towards online content. After the convention, yes, yay! After the convention, we'll obviously get the numbers, and we're going to see exactly how much it's grown this year. But what interests me in particular when it comes to online content is that we're no longer actually asking ourselves if this market is continuing to grow this year, but how much. And I believe, by the way, Garrett has a ticket to VidCon this year.
I am going. I am very, very excited.
You don't have 2 tickets, do you, Garrett?
No, mine was actually given to me by a friend who was like, "Hey, I was gonna take my girlfriend, and then I broke up with her. So, do you want to go?" I was like, "Yes, I do."
Break up with more girlfriends.
Yeah, so I'm going. I'm going to be filming and doing. It's the best possible place to vlog from, so I'm going to be vlogging the experience. I am actually this week starting a morning thing. I'm going to be working at my kid's school in the mornings, and I already made that commitment before I found out about the thing. So I'm going to basically be going to school in the morning and working with kids, and then going to VidCon, which is going to be an interesting juggling act. But yeah, it should be a blast.
That's awesome. So take a lot of pictures, and we expect a very long and detailed report during next week's Film Geeks.
Very definitely. If you want to stay up with the day-to-day, you can always head over to youtube.com/thegarrettrobinson and subscribe to that channel, as well as this one, which if you're not subscribed to this channel, you are doing life wrong. So
I know we've kind of it's kind of deep into the show, but don't forget that if you are watching this live, then you can talk to us. Basically, if you're watching it on the YouTube channel, you can make comments, and we will see those comments, and we will be able to comment on those comments and show the comments.
We
live.
will even answer them live. Yes.
Yes.
Say comment one more time.
Comment.
So let's jump into the main topics.
Delicious.
Shall we?
Scrumptious.
So, as most people
Chad.
will already know, you two, knock it off. So, as most people will already know, Game of Thrones Season 4 finished last week with a ball-buster of a finale that a lot of people were like, yay, for. Season 4 followed to about the end of Book 3, delved into Book 4 a little bit, but as I've discussed on the show before, Book 3 is where I stopped reading. I was angry at that point. I gave Book 4 a chance, but after like 150 pages, I was bored and angry, and I quit. And that was many, many years ago, before the show came out.
Garrett.
Yeah, well, stay with me here. After the show finale, I was like, you know what? I really want to know what happens next, because up to this point, I've known everything that was going to happen in the story, and I didn't like the sensation of not knowing what was going to happen. So I bought Book 4, I bought Book 5, I read them over the course of the last week, and you know what? They were so good, so much better than they were before, specifically because of the show, which is a phenomenon that I haven't experienced before. In the books, just as an example, Brienne of Tarth is a boring, flat character, or she was to me at least.
Completely disagree.
Okay, I got no charm, no charisma, nothing to pull me in and make me want to read her, and she is a major character in Book 4. But after 4 seasons of Gwendolyn Christie imbuing her with so much awesome, she just has done such an amazing job of playing that character. Suddenly, I go into Book 4, and it's chapter after chapter after chapter of Brienne, and I'm totally sucked in because, like, she has put this personality into the character that just was not there for me before. She has jokes and more motivation and charm and badassery in the show that just was not written into the books for her. Like,
in your opinion?
In my opinion, although. Yes. In the show, she does things that are not in the book that I found very compelling and whatever. So that's not just my opinion. That's them definitely doing things to make her different and spice her up.
Well, my argument, I'm sorry, I don't want to interrupt your thing entirely, but I mean, I've read all the books. I've read them 3 times. I love the books so much, and I don't watch the TV show because I think that the TV show is less powerful than what my imagination provided in my head. I'm the other way around, and I get your point, and that's great. But what I sort of resent is the what's the word I'm looking for? The connotation that the books are lacking. I beg to differ. I beg to differ. I think the books are so much better. And it's like I was watching Kendall's
the guy who hasn't watched the show.
No, I have watched. I've tried watching, from the beginning, and I'm so angry about most of the casting. And I like her. I like Brienne. I've seen a bit of her, and the actress who plays her is good. But I think that so many of the whatever. I'm not going to dish on the show. I love that it's happening, but I think that I don't think that it's able to capture the magnificent. I mean, there's so many actors who are just nowhere near as amazing as the characters in the book.
Well,
And
that's what I'm doing.
I think. Well,
another example is Oberyn Martell, the Viper. In the books, he has I won't say he has a minor role, because anybody who's watched season 4 knows exactly what his role is, and like,
no spoilers, Garrett.
no spoilers. No, it's not spoiling anything. But in the books, he just kind of appears. He does some stuff, and spoiler. But in the show, he's played by the incredible Pedro Pascal, who just, oh my God, not since Inigo Montoya have we had a vaguely Spanish sounding.
But you cannot say that. But you can't say that it's better because you.
Yes, I can.
No, you can't, because I love his character in the book, and I think he's charming and he's sneaky and he's one of my favorite characters once he finally gets there. But you see what I'm saying? My point is that you're prejudiced, and I wish you could recognize that. I know I'm prejudiced. I know I'm prejudiced towards the books, but at least I know that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that
I'm prejudiced because I have read the books and I was like, eh, and then I saw the show and I was like, oh, so that's my own personal experience talking. If
you'd read the books, all the books first, then you could say what you're saying right now. Then you could say what you're saying right now.
I read all of the first 3 books, and then saw the show, and I was like, oh my God, some parts of this are so much better, like so much better. I've talked about the Red Wedding on this show and other shows, where in the books it was freaking dumb to me, and in the show they handled it with aplomb.
The important part is to you. To me, it was.
And everything that I've said has been prefaced with "to me," at least in my.
Ladies.
I know, right? Come on, Dad. This is all I can think of.
I just think that
I think it comes down to imagination, and I think
Dad,
I have imagination.
Dad, name one thing that I have asserted as fact that is wrong.
Well, what you did is you've said it. You've said it.
Okay, let's put a disclaimer before every single show. Everything that we say is our opinion unless it's confirmed on another website and a fact like a casting thing. Okay, so let me just finish this as my opinion.
Okay, fair
shall we do that?
Fair enough.
This is quite literally all subjective.
It is.
There's no way you can make it objective. So
where I'm getting angry is, it seems to me, honestly, sorry, but it seems to me insulting to George R.R. Martin, and I think
I fully intentionally insult George R.R. Martin in all of the decisions that he made in the book that I thought were fucking stupid, including the Red Wedding, which in the book was dumb to me and super dumb. And
you know that the show you're watching is based on George R.R. Martin's writings, right?
Yes, and in several ways they have improved it tremendously.
Okay, in other news that I'm interested in knowing, I want to know what Gwendolyn Christie is playing in Star Wars.
I do as well. She'd better be a badass Jedi. Oh, I can't wait to see her with a lightsaber. That sounded wrong.
Wait, who's she?
She's Brienne of Tarth.
Oh,
anyway,
interesting. Cool.
Carrying swiftly onward, for anybody who doesn't know, Book 4 and 5 cover the same timeline, but with different characters. In Book 4, this is a slight spoiler, but it won't affect anything in the show because of the way that they're going to run it. But in Book 4, there is no... just as an indicator, not indicating anything about who's alive or dead or anything like that. But in Book 4, there is no Tyrion, there is no Jon Snow, and there is no Daenerys Targaryen, who are 3 of my favorite characters who, as of this moment in the show, are still alive and kicking and doing great. So then in Book 5, it picks back up on the same timeline, but strongly featuring those 3 characters. So the 2 books are going to run concurrently. But if you're like most of humanity, and those are 3 of your favorite characters, Book 4 seems like it would be the most boring thing ever, but the show has made me care a lot more about people like Brienne and Jaime and the Greyjoys, who form the backbone of the stories of Book 4. So this just goes to highlight another
This is ridiculous. I'm sorry, but this is ridiculous. Your point is so silly to me.
My opinion. I know, but it's your opinion.
No, but it is opinion, but it's based on a weird concept that George R. Martin did not write these stories.
Right, but
it doesn't make any sense. How is the show? How is the show better than George R. Martin's writings? It does not make sense. Your logic is
you really need to let somebody finish. You really need to let somebody finish a complete thought before you go saying anything. This goes to highlight another point that we've made often and repeatedly on this show, which is that one intellectual property can be spread across many mediums, and the whole can be greater than the sum of the parts. I wouldn't say that the show is better than the books, but because of the show, I'm able to enjoy the books more, including the parts that I read before seeing the show and did not enjoy. After watching the show, I enjoy the parts.
That's great that you say that now, but that's not what you're saying. That's not your point. I mean,
what is not what I'm saying?
Your point has been, from the beginning of this conversation, that George R. Martin's writings is not as good as this show. That has been your point.
That has never been my point. Certain parts of the show are better than the books, like the in my opinion, like the Red Wedding, which I hated, like Brienne of Tarth, who I just didn't give a rat's ass about, like Jaime, who was less charismatic in the books to me than he was in the show, like the Greyjoys.
Is insanity.
Okay, that's my insanity. There you go.
The books, this is my point, and that's fine. That it's fine. Listen, to have your opinion is great, but to insult the guy who, which I'm sorry, it's why I'm getting emotional about this. I feel like you're insulting him. I
am absolutely insulting him.
I know you're not intentionally insulting him.
No, I'm intentionally insulting him.
Well, then that's ridiculous.
Okay.
It's ridiculous.
Okay.
Because the fact is what you see on that screen is somebody else bringing it to life. Right?
No, it's also him. It's also him. He's an executive writer on the show.
That's fine. My point is you're seeing somebody else's imagination put in. Okay, the main difference between you and me is that what you saw in your head reading that book was nowhere near as good as what they're putting on the screen. And
in your opinion.
No. You said this. You said this.
No.
You said this.
Yes. Certain things that I saw in my imagination were not nearly as good as they are in the show.
Whereas what I saw in my head was so much better than what they're putting on that screen that I can't watch it.
Well, then there you go. So it's all subjective, and why are you arguing with me?
Because you're insulting the guy who put it, and it just doesn't make sense that you would insult him intentionally or unintentionally, but especially intentionally.
I'm intentionally insulting him because I thought that certain parts of the book sucked, and Book 4 was boring as shit before I cared about the characters, and the show made me care about the characters. The logical sequence of progression is I read Book 4. I
wish you would understand my point. I wish you would understand my point.
Your point is that I'm insulting the guy who created the foundation for everything. And I just think that your point doesn't matter because it's all my subjective opinion. And as a fan, a fan of both the books and the show, I have become a bigger fan of the books and have enjoyed everything more because of the show than I did beforehand. I could not read the book series. I saw the show. It gave me the background and the character establishment and the charisma that I needed to then go back and enjoy the books. And if filmmakers can take that and use that to make their films better or to make their other projects better, if they can create other things that help establish the world more and help make their characters more awesome to the audience and extra things that other people can experience that make the experience of watching their films or television shows or web series more awesome, that is something that I think that we could all use as filmmakers. And I think that this is an excellent example of that because of my own purely subjective experience with it and what I have gone through over the course of the last 3 months, watching the show and then reading the books.
You guys, we may have just entered like the real film geeks of Los Angeles County. Like, I'm not even kidding around. Chip is distressed. Look at this face. He is distressed right now.
Oh, hi, Chip.
In other news, What's interesting is I had an audition last week for this film called Djinn Wars, DJINN, and they actually asked me to come dressed and looking like Daenerys Targaryen.
That's kind of awesome.
I'm not even getting around.
What was the show called?
Djinn Wars.
Djinn Wars.
As in like Djinn, like based on the comic book.
Yeah, I got you.
DJINN. So it was interesting and an opportunity to dress up, but whatever. Okay, moving on, bitches.
Moving on.
OMG, you guys. Girls, they fight.
Chad gets very emotional about Game of Thrones. Every time we've had a conversation about it, he gets super pissed off that I don't worship the books.
It just seems to me so ridiculous. Anyway, I mean, just to wrap it up, is that it seems to me so short-sighted of not just you, but a lot of different people to be like, oh my God, this is great. And it's like, what are you talking about? What's in the book is so amazing. I've read them 3 times. In my opinion. But I'm not the only one with this opinion. I'm not the only one with this opinion. Let me finish.
Okay.
I am
you
not the only
interrupted
one.
my segment.
But then I stopped and let you finish, did I not?
After several more interruptions. But go ahead.
Go ahead. Let you finish.
Go ahead.
My point is that I had a point. And
guys, I am moderating next time. The next time I see Game of Thrones, I am going to freaking moderate. And you're each going to be timed. You're going to have like 60 seconds. You're going to have 60 seconds to rebut said earlier opinion. It's going to be just like a debate.
No, listen, I think that it's what drives me absolutely nuts about it is that people, in my opinion, are going absolutely nuts about a substandard interpretation of something. I'm not saying that's always been the case. It's getting better as they have more money. But I mean, I think that there's a lot of casting choices that were and I think that, you know, whatever, it is what it is. It is opinion. But what drives me nuts is that people who dish on Martin fail to realize that it's because of him that they're enjoying anything in the first frickin' place. So it's regardless of whether or not you think
that's like
he's an awful writer, the point is that
never said he was an awful writer.
Well, whatever. The point is that the characters that you're seeing, I think are better in his books in many cases, not all cases, but it's but you know, anyway, it's just don't insult the guy. It's ridiculous to insult him. It's ridiculous.
I have written extensive reviews on this. I have stated my opinion multiple times. There are certain things that were just bad decisions, in my opinion, and which were handled with much more grace and skill in the show. And that is my statement. I will stick with that absolutely. But that's like saying that George Lucas is just carte blanche for everything that he's ever done because he invented Star Wars and that's the foundation of everything else. So
compare them as writers. You cannot compare them as writers.
I believe I just did.
I'm sorry. But there's no
comparison. There's no way to compare. They've both created these alternate universes.
Did he create a hit series of novels, George Lucas? Did he create a hit series of novels that lived for over a decade?
He has been behind. He has created the universe in which a great number of #1 New York Times best-selling novels set in the Star Wars universe have been published. Yes. And
this is silly. This is a silly argument. You cannot, I can tear apart this argument in 5 seconds.
I'm just saying he created a universe. I'm just saying he created a universe.
But the point is these are 2 different art forms. Writing novels is a very, very you know better than I how difficult it is to create those worlds, etc. Yes, that is an art form that I respect and fear and admire in many ways.
Absolutely.
George Lucas doesn't have that. He's an unbelievable filmmaker. I like him as a filmmaker. I don't think he's a good director. I think he's a fantastic producer. But you cannot compare them.
Well, you can compare them.
I will say that there are a number of films that are much better than the books, and where the film came out, the book became more popular because people already had an idea of what was going on in their head, and they're kind of reliving the film. Things that come to mind, Misery, film much better than the book. Like anything like Nicholas Sparks, like The Notebook, whatever. Die Hard.
Even Fight Club.
Like
Chuck Palahniuk himself,
totally.
yeah. Chuck Palahniuk himself has said that.
And I mean, there's like, what about Jurassic Park? Like, I feel like Jurassic Park, like, nobody wants to
let's actually move on because
so
I have to shoot.
All I want to
something
stress
else
in response to that, which we have video evidence of that I've already stated this several times, I never said that the books as a whole were worse or better than the show. I said that certain aspects were, and they enhanced my enjoyment of the books, which I now enjoy tremendously through and through. So there you go.
Excellent. Moving on.
Okay, so going back to superheroes, it's like a superhero theme today. PBS's Idea channel, which I just found out about this, I love it. It just put out a video called "Why Are There So Many Superhero Movies?" It's so interesting. This series, like the Idea channel, just go to PBS's Idea channel. It's so good. Basically, it tells a history of superheroes in an effort to explain why there are so many superhero movies around these days. And I mean, like, so many. I was like, okay, sure, there's more superhero movies, but the statistics are ridiculous. According to these guys, the year 2000 ushered in, like, the modern era of superhero flicks, like with X-Men, but it hasn't stopped yet. IndieWire, I looked up IndieWire, put out an article that says there are 23 projected large-budget superhero movies planned in the next 4 years. And that's cray-cray. That's like more than the past 10 years combined. And there have been 64 major superhero films in the past 12 years. And for real, it's a lot. It's a lot. A lot of people are saying that filmmakers have run out of ideas. They're just trying to make money on something that's already existing. But this is an interesting little video on Idea Channel. It talks about the history of superheroes, and it's got to do with Thomas Carlyle's. I don't know if you guys know the great man theory. It's kind of bullshit, but it's that the only progress is only happens through the actions of great men like Napoleon and Jesus and William the Conqueror, and so he called them heroes, which is kind of where the term heroes was coined, as far as great men saving the day, that kind of thing. It's bullshit, I think, but the idea stayed around, and the video talks about how our culture's myths reflect their hopes and fears at the time, and that I'm assuming superheroes are kind of our myths of right now. And so yeah, it's hoping for a superhero or recreating a lot of them shows that we as a culture are seeking a change. I won't give it all away, but it's just a really, really great little video. And it just poses a lot of questions, and it encourages discussion, and I just really loved it. PBS's Idea Channel is my new favorite thing to play on. So
wait,
yeah.
It's on YouTube, you said? Is the channel's on YouTube?
Yeah.
I'll check that out. I mean, I'll be honest, that particular thing, and I can't really say this with any sort of certainty because I've never seen it, but it sounds a little kind of psychoanalytical to me, whereas to me it just seems a simple matter of these are established properties that have been around for a long time, and it's so difficult to get through the noise that it's a simple solution. It's a established property with you know what I'm saying? That to me is
it's already
kind of
popular,
obvious. Yeah, it's already popular. You're definitely going to be able to get an audience. So that's why. That's the biggest reason. You've got decades.
Yeah, but there's a reason it's popular. If people keep going to see superhero films, there's a reason it's popular.
Well, my question is...
Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. Well, my question is there a comparable... Are there any other comparable non-superhero properties out there that you could use to sort of compare it to? Because for instance, are self-help books that we've talked about many times that are also getting movie deals. They don't even have the decades. Go ahead, you go.
There's a really interesting parallel theory which fits into this very nicely, which I've read a couple different articles that basically make the same argument, and it's super interesting, which is that whenever we've got, bear with me, for the past 20 years, 25 years, maybe even 30, whenever we've got Democrats running the country, zombie zombies become really popular, and whenever we've got Republicans, whenever we've got Republicans running the country, vampires get really popular, and they trace the whole history back through the early Romero films, and then films like The Lost Boy, An Interview with the Vampire, and then the resurgence of 28 Days Later and and then Twilight, and then now with The Walking Dead. And the theory is that, like, whoever's in power, we tend to sort of fear them, and that fear seeps in, whatever the fuck you want to call it, seeps into the collective unconscious, and that just becomes like a type of monster movie that the whole world becomes like really invested in. And I was like, come on.
And then you read
stretch, guys. Right, but then you read the timeline and you're sort of like, wait a minute.
Well, yeah, but
but
check their stats. I mean, True Blood is still successful. True Blood has not gone away. You know what I mean? It's still a very hot property. You know, I mean, so that's what's so silly is like I'm sure their stats are a little skewed, and I don't know.
And they're definitely trying to make their point, but it's that same idea of like whatever's big and going on. It's like it's topical, but like in a more subliminal sort of universal. Everybody's afraid of.
I'm not saying I'm not going to read this because it does interest me, and I'm sure it will be amusing.
I just think these people need to be doing more important things. I mean, really?
That's what?
Where do werewolves fit in?
What is more important than writing about zombies and vampires versus vampires? There's nothing more important.
Never say the internet has. Never besmirch the internet for having too much time on its hands, because the internet having too much time on its hands is what gave us the Peter Dinklage Game of Thrones song, and that is a treasure.
Yes!
Oh my God. I don't know what that is, but are you talking about because my favorite is it's so, what is it called, the
bad lip reading?
Bad lip reading. Oh my God. It is so amazing, especially if you're a fan of the books. Is
the Peter
or the
Dinklage
show, I imagine.
The Peter Dinklage Game of Thrones theme is literally just it's a video of a little model of Peter Dinklage spinning slowly in a circle, and a guy going, Dinklage, Peter Dinklage, Peter Dinklage, Peter Dinklage, Peter Dinklage, Peter Dinklage, Peter, and it's just that.
That's hilarious.
For like an hour. It's amazing.
I will check that out.
Garrett, do it
again. This will just be the background music for the rest of the show.
All right, so I'm going to move on, if that's okay. And this is to a certain degree going to be, I think, more of a discussion than a I don't know, package, a news package.
We have so much time left to discuss, Chad.
Yes. But it is, I read an article a few months ago, and there's been something that's been on my mind a lot lately because I've been, especially because of, I guess maybe because of WMM Fest, people have been like, what is We Make Movies? What are you guys all about? A one-on-one when I've been meeting people at WMM Fest about it. And I think that one of the main things I've been telling people is that I think that We Make Movies is eventually what we want to be, where we see an actual, because we are a for-profit, we're not actually a non-profit, and we thought about that. A couple of years ago, we put a lot of thought into that, and we decided we wanted to be a for-profit. We wanted to not as much because we want to make a lot of money, but because we want control. And when you have a non-profit, there's a variety of different things that make it easy for you to lose control. You have to hand things over to a board, et cetera, blah, blah, blah. So we were like, no, we want to make sure that this thing is something that we can keep going down the right path. So that said, how does one derive profit from something like this, which at the moment is not really generating much profit at all? And that's fine. It's like it's still the early years. But what do we see for this? What's the future that we see for this? And I can't speak so much for Sam. I know Sam has his ideas, but I know that we've had conversations with it. They are similar to mine in some ways. My specific take that I think is, in my opinion, going to be the thing, which, whatever, I'm sure he thinks that his thing is going to be the thing that's going to make us money, but I think mine will, and that is that I see us as sort of a multi-channel network for the next level of content creators. And if you don't know what a multi-channel network is, did I freeze for a second there?
No, you're good.
Okay, good. if you don't know what a multi-channel network is, it's basically like one of these companies like Maker Studios, Machinima, Full Screen. They're these companies that cater to YouTubers. So there's a lot of money going to YouTube. And multi-channel networks have been popping up since that money started to really flow in. And they take basically a cut of various different YouTubers' money. And in exchange, they make things a lot easier for them. Put together libraries of music, for instance, that they can use at no. They don't have to pay royalties because they pay sort of a group royalty, variety of different things. And some of them have been doing, I think most of them, in fact, have been transforming also into sort of agents or managers for these guys. They hook them up with brands, and they help them do commercials and stuff like that. So that's based on money that exists. Now, what in my opinion, what We Make Movies is trying to do is we're going to try to, is we see a market that doesn't really exist yet, not on a major scale like what YouTube has, but we see, and I particularly think that it's going to be some sort of app, some sort of website, something that's going to be able to pull the signal, meaning the thing that you want individually as an audience member, out of everything, the noise of everything that is out there, and be able to connect you on a sort of moment-to-moment basis with the independent videos that you want to see. You know, if you're really into a particular type of zombie anime, and there's a guy in freaking
because you're afraid of
Bulgaria,
Democrats.
right, exactly. There's going to be this thing that's going to connect you. I think that when that develops, when that launches, we're going to be ready, and there are probably going to be organizations similar to us. So that is, in my opinion, the thing that's going to start to make us money. So that's.
Are you saying that WMM is going to actually create that kind of algorithm, or do you think that once that happens, that we will be able to flourish as an MCN?
The second, and the second, and it means that so that means that. We're never going to be able to, until that thing sort of exists, we're not going to be able to make that leap into a big. But the way I am trying to set things up and is to create all of the means whereby we can have we can create the most help to different independent, and there are a variety of different ways. I'm not going to bore everybody with the details, but they're exciting to me. They're really cool, and it's the kind of stuff that I think is going to be, is going to kind of be a step up. And basically, what I want us to be is sort of the Paramount Studios, the ABC, NBC, the CAA, combination of the future for independent filmmakers. But it all depends. The linchpin is this thing, is this sort of curation. So being able to pull that signal from all the crap that's out there on all the different, and it's out there already. There's a lot of these independent things. It's out there. Problem is that nobody has created the bridge. Nobody's created that bridge. And I'm not, like you said, I'm not actually, we're not mathematicians. I mean, I would love to. I've talked to various different organizations. In fact, on Tuesday night, I'm talking to another company, and I've tried to kind of say, oh, hey, do you have the means to do? I mean, honestly, I think Google has the data that is needed. If somebody can pull from that data in such a way to make something like this happen, they're going to be extremely wealthy, in my opinion.
I mean, what if someone's able to enter? What if someone's able to enter their own data? Like say you come to We Make Movies and we can publicize it enough to where people actually do on a regular basis come to WMM Originals, and they enter, I want a short film that's dramatic, that's blah, that's blah, that's blah, and then our own specific little channel can do that for folks.
Well, it's not there's two things with that. The first part of what you said, where them entering the data of what they want, that's going to be automatic anyway. Whatever this product is, whatever this thing is, that will be a part of it. It'll be very similar to what happens on Netflix, very similar to what happens on YouTube, where these guys within their own individual worlds can do exactly what I'm talking about. So that's going to be automatic. And the second part is that we're never going to be able to provide the volume of what we're talking about. It's going to be out there. It's out there. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's what I'm talking about.
The content's there. The bridge is what's missing.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
so that said, this is sort of a very long sort of preamble to what I was talking about. I was reading an article that said that, because what we're talking about is curation. I was reading an article that says that if you are in social media, you are automatically a curator, and and that's true. And basically, obviously, what that means is that if you get something from a friend, an email or something you see on their Facebook wall, and you're like, oh man, that's awesome, and it's a little image or it's a little video or something that you did not yourself create, and then you post it for your friends, that's curation. So it's already to some degree happening. It's not happening, it's ad hoc, and it's like just, hey, what am I, who are like my 5 or 6 friends that I think do cool stuff, and what's going on their Facebook wall, or am I subscribed to them, or is Facebook already figured out from all the stuff of theirs that I've liked and clicked enough to put them into my feed, and so it's really sort of ad hoc. It's not like so much if you want to go. So I think that maybe that'll be a place to begin. It very well could be Facebook that puts this thing together, is my point. It very well could be Twitter. It very well could be a partnership between Google, Facebook, and Twitter. It could, you know what I'm saying? It could be, I bet to some degree Amazon even has the means of doing this. The key is, who's doing it? Is anybody doing it? Are they actually interested in this? Somebody needs to be.
I think I think people like that probably exist. I think that the idea that needs to happen exists, and I think that if somebody was clever enough, they could figure out a way to do it without even getting anybody's okay. There is a very, very famous independent author named Hugh Howey who became a millionaire and sold the film rights to his self-published book to Ridley Scott, and basically took that money, hired a team of like incredibly awesome mathematicians and computer guys. He figured out a way to analyze the data on Amazon that they make available to everybody, just like our best. They take the bestseller list and they analyze it, and they are able to calculate like to within $1,000 how much every author on that list is making per year, what percentage is going to the publisher, what percentage of self-published books are successful, exactly how many units are being moved by Amazon each day. So it's like, if he can figure that out, then some people with like real social media mindedness could probably figure out a way to hack Google, Google+, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, and just get all that data and generate this thing that's like, you go onto your homepage and it goes, here are the articles that you should read. Here are the videos that you will like. Here are the new websites that have started or that you should really be following. And you're just like, click, click, consume, consume, consume.
Right.
Would be great.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like every time you go shopping on Amazon or whatever,
Yeah. The key here is you. You know what I mean? As an individual consumer, whatever this device is has to be able to also collect information on you, because it will then therefore pull the things from everything. Pull these individual things and be like, oh, you're gonna like this. That's why I think Google is gonna be probably the one to do this.
You know what it needs to be? It needs to be a browser. It needs to be like Google Chrome could theoretically do this, because it knows every website you visit, every movie that you watch online, every book that you buy through Amazon, everything all your keywords that you post on Facebook and Twitter and everything. And if they could just make it a part of Google Chrome somehow, it would be the browser, and the browser would just go, hey, you'll like this, and you'll be like, yes, I do.
Yes, right.
That would actually be kind of a cool internet experience.
Yeah. It's so funny to me. I mean, it's sort of a complete side note. I know that Amazon has been releasing a couple things. I don't know if you saw that they have this new, they had the Fire TV thing that they launched, I don't know, maybe about a month or two ago, and then they just very recently launched this brand new phone. And if you've not seen the commercial for it, it's pretty ridiculous.
I know.
Pretty cool.
Go check out the Amazon phone commercial if you haven't seen it already.
It's just right on the front page of Amazon. Check it out. But their video interface is so bad still.
The worst.
I mean, It's the worst. Their online video thing. It's like, why? With all of this amazing stuff you're doing, this thing that seems like it would take a fraction of the time that it would to develop a whole new phone with all these things, you can't fix that?
Yeah.
It's like, what is wrong with you people? Where are your priorities? You know?
I've said this
Anyway.
repeatedly. They came out with Kindle Direct Publishing. They should come out with Kindle Direct Studios, or whatever you want to call it, where anybody can publish any video, charge whatever they want for it. They get 70%, Amazon gets 30%, and there's a native app on all the Kindle devices. They put out a free app for the iPad and the iPhone. My God, independent film would blow up like it's never blown up before, and Amazon would make a fortune.
Yeah.
I'm
That's
interested.
a really good
I mean,
idea.
I was going to counter that, and then I was like, well, hold on. It's working with publishing, and they are connecting with their individuals, so you might be right. That could be sort of the beginning of that. I mean, because all of these things, all of these venues, they're out there. Yekra's out there, VHX is out there, PivotShare's out there. There's all these things that are doing on that. I'm going to meet with a guy on Tuesday of a thing called Jamabi, and I think it's similar to that, but I think it elevates it to a certain degree, and I'm interested. I'm really interested in that meeting, but it's, you know, I don't know. I don't know. Who knows? It could be 5 seconds from now. It could be people could be building exactly what we're talking about right now and be ready to launch it in like 5 minutes. Yeah. But you know, it just seems to me, you know, 6 months too late. Not too late, but for my taste, it's like this shit already
exists. Give it to me now. Put it in my face.
No, I want it in my face right now.
All right, well, we've run significantly over, and we should go. But let's end off with things to know. Thank you, Michelle. WMM Fest is my things to know. What is your thing to know, Michelle?
WMM Fest. I'll be there. Come see us.
And Chad,
what's hilarious? I put WMM Fest into our spreadsheet before any of these fools also did that, so I'm going to add to it, actually.
Chad, don't tell them we have a spreadsheet. We just think of this shit as we go.
We've already referred to it many times in the past. Anyway, so I'm going to add to it. Come to WMM Fest. Like I said at the beginning, I have something in every single night, so please come. And it's all about me anyway, so let's be honest. But in addition to that, if you have not seen Dear Guy Who Just Made My Burrito, it is a classic. It's been online forever. Google it. You will laugh out loud. If you do not, it's only because you have no sense of humor whatsoever. Dear Guy Who Just Made My Burrito makes me laugh out loud every single time I read it. Okay, so that's it.
Amazing.
All right, and with that, I will call an end to this show. Thank you, people who tuned in live. We had a couple of people watching. Give us a comment next time. We love hearing from you. I'm Garrett Robinson. You can find me at garrettbrobinson.com. Chad is at superfreako.com, and Michelle is on Twitter at mlucadoo. We'll see you next Sunday. Goodbye.